Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Cohn. I'm your host. It is a solo pod edition here today. Dan has the night off. He was originally going to join me, and then he tells me he got his second COVID-19 vaccine shot today. So he's dealing with, a little bit of fatigue as one of the side effects from the second vaccine shot. So I would encourage everyone to reach out to him on Twitter at Wandelch, WANDELCH. Or if you're part of any of the Discords we're a part of, give him a shout out. Tell him you're thinking about him. You hope he gets better soon. And Dan, I hope you get better soon, buddy. Those side effects don't last long. So get well soon, buddy. Can't wait to have you back on the next podcast. So with that being said, I wanted to record this podcast a little bit earlier. Draftkings pretty much just got the slate up within the last half hour or so. So it is 7:43 Eastern time as I record this. And the slate's finally up. So I think DraftKings was waiting on, because originally the slate was scheduled for 7:30. And that's tough, especially with it's coming out this late. So DreamHack, there's technically about 6 games tomorrow. So the 7:30 games we're not going to get. We're going to get the 10:15, the 10:45, and the 2 1s. So with that being said, before we get into this slate, again, shout out Dan, hope you get well soon, buddy. Alright, let's get into the winning lineup from this past 8-game slate. We told you all we needed ceiling. That was the strategy for a best of 1. Oh, did the ceiling get there. The winning lineup had no stack. On an 8-game slate, 100% viable. Bongmaster 420. What a name. Congrats to Bongmaster 420. Solo takedown of first place, $5,000. The winning lineup was Captain Dexter. You needed Dexter on the slate. 43 frags, 2 assists, 22 deaths, 11 first kills, 2 1v2 clutches, and a 4K. 82.5 DraftKings points in the captain spot. Absolutely crushed. Rest of the lineup was Refresh, Tizian, Simple, Jame, and Axile. I talked about it yesterday. Simple, Jame, Axile, we love those plays. We said you could fade Shero for Axile. Axile went 17, 4, and 8 with 3 first kills and 9 rounds not played bonuses. 27.5 DraftKings points. Absolutely fantastic. Now, with that being said, the Tizian 1% stands out. He went bonkers. 25, 5, and 12 with 3 first kills and 8 rounds not played bonuses. 36 DraftKings points. He had as many DraftKings points as Simple. Wow. So the Refresh was good value. 16, 2, and 10. A 1-1v2 clutch, 3 first kills, 8 rounds not played bonuses, 22.5 DraftKings points. Fantastic. James did really well, 23, 6, and 16 with 2 first kills and a 1 round not played bonus. Simple, 31, 4, and 16 as well. You love to see these points. Congrats again, Bongmaster 420 on the $5,000 solo takedown. Not much we need to go over here. We said to play a high ceiling. Definitely played the guys with a high ceiling. Tizian was the difference maker for this lineup at 1% ownership and had 36 points. And you absolutely needed that. You also needed Dexter. He went bonkers. Refresh was good value. Simple, we said it. If Navi was going to win, it was on the back of Simple. Simple went 31, 4, and 16. Was the strategy there. James, 23, 6, and 16 again. James did well. Axile did well as well. And, no runbacks on this lineup. No runbacks. So, you love to see it. Congrats again. Bongmaster 420 on the $5,000 solo takedown. Congrats again. Great lineup. Nothing else really need to go over here. With best of 1, you need to hit those high ceilings. And those were definitely the ceilings. Especially for a Dexter who, I think if we take away the captain points, probably the highest scorer on the slate. Let's get here into today's slate for Alright, I am looking at this slate with you all for the first time. Again, the slate was just recently released before I started recording. And with that being said, we're going to go over this entire thing together. I really haven't looked at pricing at all. To be honest, I looked at a couple of top guys, but that's about it. So let's get into it. First game on the slate, Complexity versus Australis. Australis didn't lose a beat. They ran through extra salt. I think they're going to be in a much tougher position with, well, going against complexity. Now, we'll talk about Australis first here before we get into complexity. It seemed, from what little I got a chance to see of the game, Glaive was doing the opping. Very interesting. I don't mind that. Glaive, 6,600. Opping and IGL. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't mind it in large field GPPs in an MME format. The players I want, though, from this team, I'm going to stick to 3. Dupree, Magisk, Bubsky in that order. Bubsky, 5,200 is too cheap. It's complexity. I don't care. I want to see Bubsky step it up. This kid's got super talent. We've known this now for a while. And we want to see that talent. And to be able to see that talent, I think he's going to have to step up in this game. Now remember, these games, folks, are best of 3s. All right? They're best of 3 format. And we're not back to the best of 1. So back to a normal strategy. We're on a 4-game slate. You want to go 3-2-1? You want to go 2-2-2? I'm okay with that. All right, so with that being said, you want to go 2-2-1-1? I'm okay with that as well. Zipix, I don't know if I want to touch right now. He still scares me. Glaive really scares me, to be honest with you, if he's opping and doing the IGL duties at the same time. Unless Magisk right now is going to be IGL. I have no idea. I haven't seen any reports from Australis on who's doing what. Let's see if we can find anything here on hltv.org. No, nothing. Heroic reinstating Hunden as a coach. Heroic to the moon. That's going to be so much fun to see. Hunden can come back on May 1st. We'll get into that after May 1st and what he's going to do for that heroic roster, though it's already the number 2 ranked team in the world. So there's nothing here about... Yeah, let's see. So Australis beat Extra Salt 16-8. Magisk was plus 12. Zipix plus 6. Bubsky plus 7. Dupree plus 6. Glaive minus 1. No one from Extra Salt was positive. Complexity, JKS crushed. He was plus 9. Blame F was plus 3. Rush plus 1. Config was minus 1. That was tough. That was definitely tough. We said Config got a high ceiling. JKS went off on Nuke. Nothing wrong with that as well. There's nothing I can find to see who on Astralis is doing what right now. So with that being said, because we can't find it, like I said, I'm operating under the assumption of it's going to be Dupree, Magisk, Bubsky, Zipix, Glaive. Glaive is a higher ceiling, especially if he's going to opt, but Glaive isn't exactly the most aggressive IGL. And if he's going to ask to do IGL and opping, I mean, that's boom or bust. Or it could be more boom or bust rather than just middle of the road. But we will say, Glaive is very talented. And the best IGL in professional Counter-Strike, in my opinion. On the complexity side of things, I'm going right back to the world with Config. I think right now Config is the leader of this team from a fragging standpoint. I put Blame F2 and JKS 3. Poison is not having to be super upper. So, with no device on Astralis, I think Poison's a great high ceiling play for GPPs. I just don't know how much he's going to get there, but absolutely someone I want exposure to. And I'm not playing Rush. JKS is really interested in me. Blame F is really interested in me. Config is someone in complexity stacks I'm still building around. I still trust the talent. I trust the recent sample size. I'm not overreacting to one map. Before we get into the second game here on the slate, I want to remind you all to hit that like button and leave a comment down below and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell right next to it as well. That way you all know every single time one of these podcasts drop. And shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, the CSGO Clutch podcast, sponsored by Prize Picks. Listen, use that promo code CLUTCH. Again, promo code CLUTCH. And that'll get you a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 for new depositors. Big shout out to Prize Picks, doing great things for our listeners. And it's a great partnership. We love working with them, and Dan and I really enjoy playing on Prize Picks. And we're going to get into our Prize Picks segment towards the end of the show. That way that you all have the most analysis for your picks. Second game here on the slate is Virtus Pro versus Team Spirit. And we have Dexter, 9,000, versus VP, opposite James. What do we do in this game? I think, I really gotta stop saying this is the key to the slate, but I definitely think this is the key to the slate. Getting either Virtus Pro or Team Spirit correct. This could very well be a James day. It could very well be a James day. I think Team Spirit shut down your Kindar. That's just a personal assumption. If you're MMEing, absolutely get some exposure to your Kindar. In a single entry, I would fade your Kindar. He might be high owned. He's 8,800. I'd rather have Dexter at 9,000. I'd rather have Mir at 7,600. Let's just go play a name game. Who else is around your Kindar? Tessus is 8,600. Rather have Tessus. Rather have Hunter at 92. I'd rather have Caden at 96. I'd rather have Dexter at 9,000. I'd rather have Dupree at 8,400. I'd still take your Kindar over Blame F. And I'd take your Kindar over Rops. But yeah, that's for personally what I would do. For Virtus Pro, I'm focusing on James. Yeah, that's silence, because I really want no one else. I think Virtus Pro have been figured out. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think they need to mix up the rest of this roster. I can't believe I'm saying that. This is a team that has been dominant for several months in a row. They have had their struggles, but I wonder if your Kindar was their big success. Your Kindar opened up a lot of the game for them. And if these other teams are anti-stratting your Kindar, then VP is no longer elite. So, James, your Kindar, Buster, Kicker, Sanji in that order. Really, the only one I'm interested from Virtus Pro is James. I don't mind Buster and James stacks off of your Kindar for large field GPPs. For Team Spirit, I think it's a Dexter day. Followed up by Mir. Really the main two I'm interested in. And then I would mix up exposure to SDY, Chopper, and Magisk. SDY probably my third favorite out of them. But you can make an argument to fade him. I know he's done well lately. But you can make an argument to play Chopper at 5,000 due to price. As, you know, the third best on this team, or my third favorite due to price. Chopper is the IGL for Team Spirit. 5,000 is too cheap for him. We know he can do well in any game, but he is a little bit more of an inconsistent play, if you will. And Magisk is probably my least favorite of the team. So if you want to go talent-wise, SDY 3, if you want to take price into account and you need the savings, I don't mind the pivot to Chopper. He's probably going to be much lower owned than SDY, but I don't really mind either of them. So, but definitely probably SDY 3, Chopper 4. But again, if there's price comes into play, Chopper does have a ceiling, for what it's worth, in my opinion. But the two I'm definitely focusing on are Dexter and Mir, 100%. Excuse me. All right, first here into the late games. Heroic versus Big Clan. Heroic versus Big, rather. Let's do this. Cadian, highest price player on the slate at 9,600. Going right back to the well with Cadian as my favorite play. Right back to the well. Tessus, my second favorite play from Heroic. 8,600. Keep in mind, if you play these two, they are very expensive. Very, very expensive. You're going to need great salary relief. I haven't seen that much yet for salary relief. But let's get down the row here. We have Shoes, the support player for this team. Is 7,400. This is like one of the biggest misprices on the slate. Could be chalky value, but Stalin is $6,400. I don't understand why. Refresh, 5,600. So, I like, as crazy as it is, I like Stalin over Refresh, but Refresh definitely has a higher ceiling than Stalin. Stalin hasn't had to be his elite self in quite some time since this new roster put together. Having Shrews and Refresh has really taken the load off his back, so to speak. So, and what I mean by that is we've seen Stan, especially in Katowice, Cologne last year, and a lot of the run we've seen on the back of Stan. And then it was Cadian picking up the slack, and then it was Tessus picking up the slack. So Cadian's really been like the primary fragger on this team. But I think for this slate, you want to focus on Cadian and Tessus. Heroic are my favorite team stack on the slate. These are going to be very close games, folks. Each of these games could easily go 3 maps. This is going to be a highly contested day of Counter-Strike with these 4. Because we have Must Sports versus G2 next. So, if I had to rank them, Cadian 1, Tessus 2, Stown, I'm sorry, that's Price Enforcement at 6,400. Refresh 5,600, and Organic and made for him at 3 with a higher ceiling and a lower price tag. Shuj at 7,400. Just how the slate's shaping out for me. Definitely in play for MME formats, of course. But if I'm single entering, Cadian and Tessus are the 2 I want to gem in if I can afford them. If not, Stown is safer, Refresh not as safe, but higher ceiling. And then Shush at 5, he's okay. He's about middle of the road. I don't think he breaks the slate against Big Clan. I think it's Big Clan, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to make sure I get this right. I believe it is Big Clan. The game disappeared. Hey, there it is. They just call them Big. Alright, so it's just Big. Totally fine with that. Alright, here we go. Last game. Oh, I can talk about Big. Again, Heroic fanboy. Sorry. No, I talk about Big. Searson, the offer for Big is 7,800. Santaris is 7,000. Tabson, the IGL is 6,200. That's too cheap for him. Keto is 5,400 and Tizian at 4,600. In order, I really like Searson. If you're gonna stack Big, you stack around Searson. Santaris is really good. I'm sorry, 6,200 Tabson. When you take all things into consideration, including price and how much value we're going to need on the slate, my second favorite from Big. If you can fit Santaris, fine, but he's third for me. Keto 4th, Tizian 5th. Last game on the slate is Mouse Sports versus G2. Oh, buddy. Hunters at $9,200. Drops, 8,000. What do we do here in this game? I'm going to play G2. I want to play G2. Let's check out the Pinnacle odds real quick. And as always, when we go over here to leagues. DreamHack Masters Spring. All right. So, Team Spirit versus Virtus Pro. Team Spirit is a -123 favorite. Virtus Pro a +102 underdog. Almost kind of sort of a pick'em. Australis is a -106 favorite. Complexity also a -114 favorite. Looks like the edge to Complexity, but definitely a toss-up game there. We have Big versus Heroic. Heroic's a -228 favorite. Big the +183 underdog. Where did the other game go? Did we not have odds yet for that game? Alright, everyone. I would encourage everyone to very much reach out. Yeah. Let's see if we can get some stuff out. What does Bovada have? Let's try them out. Bovada CSGO. Let's take a look. Let's see what Bovada has, because not having this last game on the slate is very interesting. There we go. DreamHack Master Spring. Alright, so Bovada. Okay, Bovada has G2 at a -150 to win. And Mouse Sports at a +115. Makes sense. For sure, so definitely if you want to play the underdog here, play Mouse Sports. Been playing better. Dexter's got a much better handle on this team. Dexter's 4,800. I'm right back on the Dexter bandwagon. and we went over this on last podcast, he's done much better. All right, he's done much better. I'm not putting stock into a best of one stat line. He was 12-16 versus Navi. It's Navi. It was one map. It was 10 fantasy points. I'm not worrying over one map. I understand it's G2. G2 have been better. They've been looking better. This is still very heavily Hunter and Nico. Amanek's been stepping up. Jack's been stepping up. Even Nex has been stepping up. They're finding their groove. So if you want to get different on this slate, play some other ones. Big's giving you the biggest leverage on this slate, but you're going against the world number 2 and a team that is probably extremely fired up now that they're getting Hunden back in a couple of days. Please keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, if you want to play mouse sports, I think you can get a little funky. I think you can go play Frozen for the ceiling over Rops. I can't believe I'm saying that. Rops is the ace of the team. I like Frozen over Rops on this slate. Frozen's only 7,200. Rops is 8,000. So, I'll tell you what I did for the best of one on this past slate. I captained Frozen and stacked him with Rops. Didn't work out, but I like that for the ceiling. I can see going right back here to that again. I like Frozen for most parts of anyone. Rops second, A-Core third, B-Mass fourth, Dexter fifth. You can interchange B-Mass and Dexter. If Dexter starts fragging, this team's going to do really, really, really well. On the G2 side of things, Hunter for me first, my favorite play. I'm not making him a core play, but he's one of my favorite plays on the slate. Nico 2, Amanek 3, Nexa 4, Jax 5th. You can play Jax 4th, Nexa 5th. Jax is only 5,400 on the slate. Alright? It's totally fine with me. $5,400 Jax, I'm okay with it. Let's go into our core value, GPP, and team stack segment. It's just me today. I'm going to give you 2 core plays, 2 value plays, 2 GPP plays, and 2 my favorite team stacks. Core players to me on this slate, Acadian and Dexter. Values on this slate for me is... I think SDY is too cheap. I think Stalin is way too cheap. Tapson's way too cheap. Zipix is too cheap at 6,000. JKS at 5,800. He's too cheap. I gave you more than 2. There you go. Refresh also 5,600. A lot of good plays down sub 6K. We got value on this slate. My favorite 2 GPP plays, Tessus and Hunter. I know, one of the top guys. You know, give you a mid-range guy, config. You want a cheap guy I think that can get there? I think it's straight KS. So, my favorite 2 stacks on this slate are going to be Heroic. I know, shocker. I also like Complexity. Again, so like if we go back to Pinnacle, and we go back to overall, okay, Complexity is a minus 114 favorite. Astralis minus 106. Astralis is really good. So, there are, you know, this is a pick'em. Team Spirit versus Verse Pro is a pick'em. Heroic, obviously, a massive favorite against Big. And we saw in Bovada that G2 a minus 150 favorite against Mousesports, and Mousesports a plus 115. Like I said, these games can go either way. So I like Heroic and Complexity as my favorite team stacks on the slate. It's time to get into our prize pick segment here. Let me refresh the screen, see if we got some new picks. Okay. We don't have any of the tier 1 teams yet. Okay, we don't have any tier 1 teams yet. Now, a couple of things immediately stick out to me. These guys. Alright. Zordy, map 1. Freddy Frog, map 1. If these lines are in fact correct, you take the under. If it's maps 1 and 2, if it is in fact maps 1 and 2. So, if it's maps 1 and 2 for Zordy against Apex, I'll go right back to the well and say over. Zordy's very talented. I don't know much about Freddy Frog. 34.5 you get that. I don't know much about him, so if it's maps 1 and 2, I might just stay away. So you get a better feel on it. Definitely go with it. Right down here, Attacker versus VC. 40.5. I like the under. So if it's maps 1 and 2, I like Zordy over and Attacker under. If these two were just map 1 and this was just an accidental typo by Prize Picks, under. If it's just map 1, in fact. And again, Attacker, I like under as well. So I will reach out to Prize Picks and double check on this first. Now, if there's anything else you guys need, have any other questions on this slate, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at AdamWX21. And Dan should be rejoining us for, in fact, the next main slate. Again, have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at AdamWX21. Dan, feel better soon, buddy. The side effects shouldn't last too long. I wish all of you much success on this slate. Good luck. Latest, peoples.